Hi, my name is Jake Morris. I am a physician and an ethicist. And in this episode of 10-Minute Bioethics, in roughly 10 minutes, we are going to talk about the broad topic of human enhancement, of using biotechnologies to enhance human mind or physical functioning beyond what it is normally capable of. At the outset, I want to acknowledge the book Beyond Therapy by Leon Kass, from which I draw several stories and quotes and helpful ideas. Let me ask you a question. What if I could give you a safe pill that would enhance your energy, reduce your need for sleep, and wipe out 95% of your negative emotions? Would you take it? Would you want it? I don't have such a pill, but it may not be quite as far off in the future as we think. Let me start with a tale. In the 1840s, author Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote a short story called The Birthmark. It's a remarkable and prescient tale for our times. In The Birthmark, a scientist, renowned scientist named Aylmer, marries a beautiful young woman named Georgiana. Georgiana is universally admired for her beauty and character, but in Aylmer's eyes, she has one flaw. She has a tiny, hand-shaped birthmark on her cheek. Aylmer becomes obsessed with removing this one blemish, this one imperfection from his beautiful wife, and so he sets out on experiment after experiment. Georgiana is content with her birthmark, but she wants to please Aylmer, so she submits to his experiments. Finally, in the end, Aylmer concocts a powerful potion, and as Georgiana drinks it, the birthmark slowly fades. But Hawthorne tells us that the little hand of the birthmark is wrapped around her very heart, and as the birthmark fades away, she dies. Georgiana's final words are haunting. She says, "Aylmer, oh Aylmer, you have aimed loftily, but with high and lofty feelings, you have rejected the best that the earth has to offer." It's a prescient warning for us. In our desire to enhance human beings beyond what we have been made to be, will we be rejecting the best that the earth has to offer? Human enhancement biotechnologies are already here. They're everywhere. We could spend hours talking about them, but we'll talk about briefly just a few. Mood-brightening drugs or antidepressants, stimulants, athletic enhancers, brain-computer interfaces, and polygenic embryo screening. Let's talk about these just very briefly. First, mood-brightening drugs. My wife is generally a very joyful and happy person. She wakes up each morning content and happy. I have a little bit different of a disposition and struggle more with negative thoughts or sometimes pessimism. And at stressful moments in life, I have often wondered, should I take an antidepressant? In America, 15% of people are on either an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication. I think for many of these people, these medicines are therapeutic. They help to restore normal human functioning. But as these agents become more and more powerful, some people are asking, should people who are normal be taking antidepressants just to be able to feel a little bit happier? In fact, there is a burgeoning field called cosmetic psychopharmacology, which aims not to treat depression, but to take normal people and through the use of medications, just shift their mood to a little bit more socially desirable state. Consider stimulants like Ritalin. For many children struggling with ADHD, these medications can be therapeutic. But research shows that 1 in 10 college students uses stimulants like Ritalin to enhance academic performance, taking them before important tests. The line between therapy and enhancement is sometimes pretty blurry. Sometimes, though, the line is clearer. Consider athletic enhancement agents. Lance Armstrong won the Tour de France 7 times. He was diagnosed with testicular cancer, recovered, and became an international symbol of resilience. But later, investigators discovered what the US Anti-Doping Agency called the most sophisticated, systematic doping scandal in all of sports. A 1,000-page document detailed the systematic efforts by Lance Armstrong and his team to use erythropoietin, growth hormone, blood transfusions, all of these other measures to enhance their performance. And enhancement ultimately undermined the meaning of excellence and competition. New technologies push this even further. There's something called a brain-computer interface, or BCI. Think about it as a chip that would get implanted to your brain and allow you, just by thinking, to access information on the internet. Companies like Elon Musk's Neuralink are using brain-computer interfaces to restore function for people who are paralyzed, using it as therapy. This is incredible. But what if you could use a brain-computer interface to access information? What if you could use it for brain-to-brain communication? All things that people think will be possible in the future. How will this affect the fabric of human existence? One last example, the polygenic screening of embryos. Right now, you can use genetic screening to identify serious diseases like cystic fibrosis. But certain companies in the United States, for example, a startup called Heliospec Genomics, for the price of $50,000, offers to, quote, screen all of your embryos before IVF to identify desirable traits like intelligence, height, sex, risk of obesity, risk of mental illness. This isn't something that is futuristic. This is something that is happening now and is unregulated in most United States jurisdictions. How should we think about these technologies? C.S. Lewis said that each new power won by man is a power over man as well, meaning that these technologies can sometimes reshape what it means to be human. Author Neil Postman said that asking what this new technology will do is no more important of a question than asking what this new technology will undo. Thinking about this, ethicist Gilbert Maylander wrote that the beginning of wisdom in bioethics may start with thinking about what is a human being and why does that matter morally? So what is a human being? How we answer that question, the story that we tell, will profoundly affect how we think about biotechnologies. Philosopher Alistair McIntyre says that a human life flourishes when it pursues virtue and has a narrative unity throughout the course of a human life. Ethicist Stanley Hauerwas says that the human life is meant to reflect God's story in the world and participate in God's story and Christ coming to earth. But then you have thinkers like Nietzsche, who say that there are no grand morals, there are no ultimate truths, and the human life, human good, human flourishing is whatever we want to make of it. And much of modern Western culture agrees with that and says that the human good is what we choose for it to be. And how we answer these questions, how we have this story of human meaning, and what is the meaning of a human life will profoundly affect how we think about biotechnologies and enhancements. Let me offer some questions that I think will help us think wisely about human enhancement. Some of these questions come from ethicist Leon Kass. First, are we decoupling effort from excellence? Brain-computer interfaces may allow me to know instantly what is the best move to play in a game of chess. But then who's playing? What does that do to the meaning of achievement? Is it still me succeeding? Second, are we prioritizing external goods over internal goods? External goods like status and prestige are competitive. Internal goods like discipline and wisdom and integrity are shareable, and human flourishing aligns most with internal goods. But enhancing technologies primarily aim at external goods. Third, are we replacing deep virtue with shallow contentment? In Aldous Huxley's science fiction Brave New World, the pill soma instantly relieves pain and anxiety and erases negative emotion. In the words of Leon Kass, this leads to a tragedy of the commons. There are a lot of moderately happy people, but we flatten out human excellence. Kass writes, in seeking brighter outlooks, reliable contentment, and dependable feelings of self-esteem in ways that bypass their usual natural sources, we risk flattening our souls, lowering our aspirations, and weakening our loves and attachments. When does the quest for self-improvement make the self smaller or meaner? Fifth, what is our attitude towards humanity itself? Are humans victims in need of rescue by technology? Are human limits something that we should attack altogether? Or is there a good reason that we are the way that we are? Lastly, does enhancement erode gratitude? Remember the story of Achilles? Achilles was enhanced and strengthened beyond all others, yet became consumed by resentment over his vulnerable heel. Enhancement can make us less grateful, not more. So in conclusion, we should remember that though health is a good thing, it is not the highest good, and a perfectly optimized life can still be morally hollow. Human enhancement is not going away. The question is not whether we will enhance as a society, but whether we will do so wisely. And perhaps a flourishing future belongs to those who are able to ask the deepest question of all: what does it mean to be a human?